Just like the street lights lit this tune, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to.
Hey guys, I'm andeeparis. Let's connect. I hope you're having a good day, and if you're not, I hope this can make your day better. Crick Crack Storytime. Alright, so this is actually a real story. It's a crick, and if you don't remember, crick means that the story is real. Crack means a crackhead told me. I was just minding my own business, and they just came and was just like talking, and then they were like, "Hey, you listening?" And you know, I was like, "Sure." Okay. But anyway, this is actually a riot story, like how I survived a riot. Like, legit. It's actually made national news. So, like, everybody knows about this, whether they know it or not. Yeah, it went national on the same day. Like, literally, it made, like, history. History for a bad thing, not even a good thing. Ugh. But yeah, it did. It happened. So it was back in high school. For the sake of the school, they're doing so good. I don't want to mention their name and connect them to their history. I don't want to do that. So I'm not going to say the name or whatever. Some things I'll leave out. So I'm going to tell the story from my perspective because, you know, so many things was happening that day. So everybody has their own version. Whoever was there have their own version of what happened. And so I'm going to just talk from my point of view. There's a boy that got arrested by a police officer. Police had like hurt him and then arrested him and then charged him for like an adult charge, right? And so that was gonna mess up his record. And so, you know, I know the boy from like elementary, like I've known him all this time, and this happened in high school, and a lot of other people know him too. And so, you know, he's cool, like, you know, so we're like, man, this not fair. That's what really they were all saying. I really didn't know what happened until I showed up to class, because in high school I'm the girl that's like I'm busy doing productive stuff, right? So during that time, this was around the same time I had a competition for like a music thing, because yes, I was in the band and whatever. I was section leader of my section. We had a competition against other schools, the leaders, you know, to bring home the trophy. I had to go and practice. That's all. Like, I was over there just minding my own, doing my own thing, per usual. Doing my own thing. And so when I got back to class, they were talking about it. And so one of the class people said, "Hey, you gonna come to the protest?" And I'm like, "What protest?" And so they decided, a group of them came with a plan to do a protest so that, you know, their voice can be heard, because apparently after this happened, it happened in front of a bunch of other students, and they were all saying that this is wrong, but the cop wasn't listening. And so they went to the office and tried to speak to the principal about it and everything, and no one was listening to them. So in that school, we were taught like to stand up for something. What's that saying? If you don't stand up for something, you fall for anything. I think that's the saying. So yeah, so we were taught to stand up for our rights, and we don't have to act a fool. You can just, you know, I guess, you know, we shall overcome, you know, Martin Luther King, walk it out. So, and I mean no disrespect. Yeah, so when I got back to the class from practicing, rehearsing, they were talking about it. So, okay. And so they decided to do the protest thing. And so they were asking me, am I going to show up? Because everybody know I'm really cool with the dude. Like, we're cool. You know, like, dude confide in me a lot. Like, with his friends, like, homeboys, like, he's, you know, happy, just talking about nothing. But whenever he comes by me, you know, it was kind of like therapy session. Okay? He really trusted me with things, like really private things. And so, you know, we would talk about those things. And so everybody would see how, you know, he confided in me. They could see that. so, you know, they're like, are you going to come? I'm like, okay, I do have to rehearse for my competition thing. But before I go to rehearsal, I'm going to stop by and show support. Absolutely. You know? So I was telling them that. Now, the group that came up with the plan didn't know that they had a mole inside of their group. So there was one particular girl that was feeding the information to the cops. Yeah. And so, you know, that's how it all started. So everything was planned. The kids got their plan to go protest, just to show that, you know, like, let their voice be heard, to say, like, you know, what the cop did was not right and stuff like that. And the cops, because they got a heads up, and I guess they felt some type of way, so they had their own plans to like sabotage the protest. So they had their own plans, and I don't know who gave approval. I don't know none of that. Okay, I just was trying to support a friend. That's it. So okay, boom. The next day comes tomorrow, and so it's the protest time. They decided to do it during the cafeteria time, so that way they don't miss school class and stuff like that. All right, so it's lunchtime. So I go downstairs. As a couple people, we were walking towards the area where they're going to do the protest. So as we're walking towards the area, one of the cop lady, who she's normally not there, she don't know me or whatever. So she stepped up to us, and like, I'm in the center and I had like some people with me, and she's like, where do you guys think you're going? And I was like, I'm going to go over there. We're having a protest, you know? And she was like, you're not going nowhere. She's like, you're not going nowhere, with attitude. And then she put her hands on her, and she's like, you guys are not going anywhere. And I don't know if that was supposed to like intimidate me, I don't know, or us, but I guess it worked on the other people, because when I looked, the people that was with me, they ran. Like, I don't even know where they went. Like, you ever seen an ant run for sugar? Ever seen an ant run for sugar? And I was like, where did they go? Where did you go? But anyway, so I stood my ground because I really wasn't doing anything wrong. I didn't touch anybody. I didn't do nothing. I'm innocent. So I was already like, you know, situating it. You know what I mean? In case. You just never know. People are crazy. So anyways, but while she was talking to me, another police officer, all I heard was a slam, like boom, somebody got slammed. And when I looked, it was a police officer flipping a boy. And so the lady that was in front of me, the police lady, she kind of left what we had going on, and she ran to go help her police officer guy. So she runs over there, and I'm like, what's that about? So I thought it was just like maybe a kid acting up or something. I didn't think it was gonna be crazy. I thought it was just, okay, maybe just one kid acting up, and I don't know. Well, that's not what happened. So from there, all of a sudden, a bunch of cops came in, right? I guess that was their signal. A bunch of cops came in, bum, 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 bum. And next thing you know, you start hearing move, 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 and they're like, everybody get in the cafeteria. And now this school is like pretty big. We have like 3 different areas where you can eat for lunch, but they wanted everybody inside of the main cafeteria. Like, the police is passing right in front of me though, like, because I was like towards the front of the school. They're passing right in front of me, and they didn't say anything to me, and I didn't say anything to them either. And they just kind of was going over there where there was a lot of people sitting there eating their lunch, and they're like, everybody get in the cafeteria, get in the cafeteria, move, move, move. Like, I'm looking like, what? I'm like, what's going on? Like, what's this about, you know? And so then I looked at my time, and I had to get the rehearsal, like, so I was like, okay, well, I guess they're not doing the protest, because it was like maybe like 3 people there, and then me standing where I was standing, and then a bunch of like stuff happening right on the side over there. And so I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go to my practice stuff, and you know, if the protest begin, you know, somebody could send me a message, and then I'll come back out. That's what I was thinking. So I started walking, and like, I wanted to take the shortcut because the school is pretty big, and so there's a lot of different routes you can take to get to wherever you're trying to get. So I wanted to go back the same way I came from, which was the cafeteria. There's like a back door. That's where I came from. And so I was going through there, and that's where the police and them was flipping the people and stuff. So as I'm walking towards there, like, again, no one's touching me, but I see a lot of chaos like happening. Like, I'm like, okay. So I keep walking. I go inside the cafeteria. And when I get inside of the cafeteria looked very loaded, like with a lot of people. So a lot of the kids was already going in there, and so I just went in there, and I just kind of crossed over to get to the other door that I'm looking for, so that I can get to the band room. So I just kept walking, and then I went and I made it to the band room. So about like 5 minutes after I made it to the band room, the PA system goes off, and somebody from the office, they said, attention everyone, this is now a lockdown. This is now a lockdown. I repeat, lockdown. Okay, I'm like, what? Lockdown? What's going on? And so, like, us kids, so we always used to put something on the latch so that whenever lockdown comes through, certain doors don't lock. You know, it looks locked, but it's not locked, and the siren won't go off if you open it. That route, so the route that I did take, that's the route that have those doors that cannot really lock for real. And so when I heard that, oh, it's a lockdown, I'm like, what's going on? So I decided to go to the cafeteria to see what's going on. I thought maybe it's something in the cafeteria, and my band director was like, where are you going? I'm like, to the cafeteria. He's like, there's a lockdown. Stay inside, stay here. And I was like, I'm coming right back. I just want to make sure that we're good or whatever. So while I'm walking, I start hearing the helicopters outside. You can hear them. It's a lot. of them. It sounded like 10. That's what it felt like to me. So then I'm going through the path, right? But I'm going really slow because we're not supposed to be outside. You stay where you at. And so I was moving. I was moving around towards the cafeteria back door where I just had came from. So when I'm looking, and the doors have like a little, like a vertical type of window, a little small window. So when I'm looking through that, I see inside the cafeteria, like I see all kinds of stuff. I see like people getting tased by the police officers. I see people getting pistol whipped, people getting hit with the baton. There was like females that's pregnant and stuff, like they're getting hit in her stomach. I think that there was even one person that lost their kid during this situation. There's people like bleeding and stuff. Like, and you know, like the dudes, like the tough dudes, they fought back, so they fighting back, and so then them and the police officers are going back and forth, so they're bleeding. People are bleeding, swelled up face. And the cops are like talking crazy to them inside of the cafeteria, like, everybody be quiet, I don't want to hear nobody talking, everybody to a corner, get to the corner. It was crazy. So I'm seeing all that, and then they started, I guess, I don't know, some people was being defiant, so they threw like tear gas up in there, like, and it's in the cafeteria, like crazy stuff, like crazy, like what? So I'm freaking out, right? And so I'm just like, okay, this is crazy. So I felt like, okay, I want to help. Let me help save as much people as I can. Let me get as much people as I can out of the cafeteria, because for some reason, I guess, you know, emotions are heightened, so nobody's thinking. Or maybe if they ran out that door, then the cops would run out. I don't know, but nobody was running to the door, and the door was open, you know. And so I'm like, okay, I can't get caught. I don't want them to pull me in, but I want to help. So I had to like figure out like how to help them, you know. And so some people were scared to come. I opened the door a little bit and I started making my hands up. I'm like, come to get them out of there, because of the tear gas and all kind of stuff. People are coughing, like all type of stuff going on, and I'm trying to help as much as I can. A lot of them was scared to come, like they're crying. I can see it in their face. They just want to run to me, right? But they just kind of like holding themselves back, like they scared. And man, that broke me. That hurt to see. It was very crazy. And so I'm like, dang, I just want to grab them and bring them to safety, man. And so a couple of my friends was in there, but they were like all the way on the other side of the room, so they see me. I'm on the floor and the door kind of crack open. They see my face and I'm like, go. So, you know, they kind of, you know, they had bravery, so they slowly moved all the way to get to the by the door, because remember, it's foggy in there as well. So, you know, all the way to they can get by the door, and then they quickly came out the door one at a time. So okay, I'm like, all right, and then I brought them to the band room, okay, and they were so emotional. They were crying crazy, and they're like, thank you so much, thank you, and I'm like, you know, like I just couldn't, you know, sit there and watch y'all, you know, be in this and knowing that I could do something, you know what I mean? So yeah, I just kept going back and forth, getting as much people as I could that was willing to come out to safety, and that's what I did. And then afterwards, pretty much, you know, people who were traumatized was traumatized. And even when school was finished, the school was still on a shutdown. There's parents outside waiting on their kids and everything. Everybody just have to wait. There's like all news outlet outside, and it was crazy because we're inside the band room, right? That because after some time, like I think I saved like, I don't know, like maybe 10-15 people out of a bunch of people. I did the best I could. But after that, my band director was like, okay, look, you putting yourself at risk. No, because he's like a father figure to me, and so he was like, I'm putting my foot down, young lady. No, you're not going back out there. So yeah, so I had to just stay in the band room. And so then we're watching the news. We're watching our school with the people outside talking or whatever. Everything they were saying was not factual, and it wasn't accurate because they're not even inside. They don't even know what's going on. And they really made it seem like the kids started this, but like the reality is that's not what happened. So, but eventually they lift the lockdown, and the lady came back in the system and was like, oh, okay, lockdown has been lifted. Everybody can go, leave, but except for the ones that got arrested. A few of them were like handcuffed inside the cafeteria, and so now the other kids are leaving, right, trying to find their parents, trying to get out of there. Those who don't have somebody picking them up, that gotta go home by themselves, they're like rushing out of there, right? And the police officers are like, they took like a few of them kids and they actually arrested them, charged them the same way they charged that dude, what the kids was trying to stand up for, charged them with adult charges and everything like that. And so, and them kids really had to go put their fingerprint, you know, I don't know the possibility, you know, the fingerprint, they had to go in the cell to come right out the cell, like to be charged. This caused such a issue, like such a trust issue for the students and the people that work at the school, the adults. The kids didn't trust the adults didn't trust the kids. They felt like the kids might try to retaliate. And the kids didn't trust the adults because they're like, you guys were there, you act like you weren't there, you allowed us to get locked up in a cafeteria, getting hurt, and not one of y'all stepped out to come and help us, and you guys know them, you know what I mean? Like, so it had like a bunch of trust issues. They had to get a therapist to come in and one-on-one and talk it out to try to find a balance, because people stopped going to school. The attendance rate went like down. Yeah, nobody was trusting it and stuff. So they had to literally go to therapy. I think they did it for like a month so that we could start building trust again and all of that. And the ones who actually got arrested and that was charged, they had to actually go to court for real, like an adult, like go to court. Now their record was affected, and some of them the judge did, like, you know, a couple of them the judge did like go ahead and drop the case. But a lot of them, they had to pay to get it dropped, or they weren't able to get it dropped, and so then they had to go around and try to get it sponged, and stuff like that. Like, they literally messed up a lot of these kids, you know, future records and stuff like that. And it was a really traumatic experience. I'm grateful that I'm okay and that I was able to help as much as I could, that my instincts kicked in like that. Like, I'm grateful for that, but it's still very like sad. A lot of people got hurt, and you know, you can't take that back. A lot of people got hurt. Yeah, it was just not okay. It was not okay. I can't believe I'm talking about this story. Since it happened, I just kind of like closed it up, put it somewhere, so that I could finish school. But I never talked about it. I never thought of, like, I just put it over there. So this is my first time actually talking about it since it happened. So yeah, that's the story. Really happened, and it messed up a lot of kids, but that's the story. I thank you so much for watching and chilling with me, watching and chilling with me. Share the video with at least one person that you cannot stand, some people that you like, and absolutely all the ones that you love, to raise awareness. Hopefully this never ever you know, hopefully it save someone, or it does some type of good, justice or something. I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Peace to you. Bye.